My name is Noah Babcock. I am the head body piercer here at Evolution Body Piercing. I've been at this studio since 1999. I've been piercing since 1995. So, when I was a kid in the 80s, my dad was one of those guys that had a lot of National Geographics laying around the house. And in those were regularly depictions of indigenous people from around the world that would do all of these different things to their bodies. And so from a very young age, I was very fascinated by that. That interest from childhood, coupled with my formative teenage years, also coinciding with the same time that body piercing was really starting to become popular in mainstream culture here in the United States. I was kind of the right person with the right mindset and the right age and the right time of history to just kind of fall into the industry. I kind of feel like this is what I was put here to do. In the 26 years of working here at Evolution, I have met and worked with many other piercers from all over the country, all over the world for that matter. And not only the care that is given to its clientele, but ultimately the way that they treat their employees and the way that they take care of their staff. And that's something that has really stood out to me. That's why I've dedicated essentially my life to the studio. I think it also something that sets them apart pretty significantly is the level of service to the community that this studio does. It's something that is profoundly more so than I feel like I see most anywhere else in our industry. Tens of thousands of pounds of food to Roadrunner Food Bank, thousands upon thousands of dollars of donations to humane associations, and then you just pile all that onto such an amazing attention to detail, both with how the studio is presented, how we interact with people from a multitude of different backgrounds, a multitude of different nationalities. You know, this studio is really quite a melting pot of personalities and people, and I think that's one of the best things about it is that we get to meet everyone. When I first started piercing, I think a lot of the most common misconceptions were that piercings are only associated with people of less than desirable background. And I think that's obviously changed over the years. We see bank tellers with nostril piercings now, and that's very acceptable. It's become very socially acceptable. And I think there's a common misconception that, oh, it's just poking a hole, it's just making some dots and putting a piece of jewelry in it. Well, really, ultimately, how hard can it be? When in fact it's a lot more complex than that. There's a lot to underlying anatomies, there's a lot to understanding people's different body structures, people's different shapes, there's a lot to understanding how jewelry fits and works. It takes years to learn to be a body piercer. Piercing's done, jewelry's in. Just gotta screw the little bead onto the top and we'll be all finished. You, young lady, are all finished with a pierced eyebrow. Super cute. Um, I don't know 30 years ago that any of us really ever thought it would become what it ultimately has, and that it's now this massive international industry that permeates really all social classes.